Hey, welcome
Hello.
everyone to Rad Pod and Chill. Well, I paint my nails and put my jewelry on. Well, we live stream and we do a recap of our most recent episode. In this case, it's episode 13 with Monique Kamara, and I cannot wait to jump into that. But before we dive in, we do have some news breakers, and so that's pretty exciting. I have my own personal news to break. As our friends know, Twitter is the worst of times and the best of times, and the worst of times and the best of times. You can find your tribe, and and you can also lose your co-hosts. But I just wanted to give a special shout out to my Twitter tribe and my friends, because as of
Jim, where you going, bro?
He's lost it.
What are you doing? Now you're like sideways and shit.
now you know why it's Rad Pod and Chill. We're not trying to produce much right now.
Nope.
But as we await for Jim to come back, horizontal or vertical? Vertical, I guess. I just want to say thank you so much, because thanks to my friends, I am officially an Amazon #1 best-selling author. Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Not
It's a
easy.
really big deal. I wrote a book called A Wretch Like Me with my friend Marcia Fritz, a longtime colleague from back in the Fox days. And she and I formed a publishing company together, Coral Winds Media. A Wretch Like Me is the debut. It's nonfiction. All our books are going to be very disruptive. And I just want to give you an idea of which bestseller lists we made it on. #1 on sexual abuse is on Amazon. #1 on sexual abuse, codependency, personality disorders, and depression. And when I told my other friend, Jim, the categories that we made #1 on, he said, wow, that sounds just like my last date, LOL. So,
Ow. Ow,
yeah.
dude.
Hey,
Ouch.
super, he wasn't referring to me, needless to say. But it's just a super, super gutsy, brave book about my friend Judy, who shared her life with everybody. And she grew up starving and dealing with molestation and abuse and abandonment. And she survived, man. She survived, and she's 79 and beautiful. And so thank you, everyone, for helping make my dreams come true. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you to and for.
And are you working on something now? Is there a follow-up to this? Or what
Yes, I am. I'm working on 3 books right now. We have a follow-up that is not as sexy, but equally disruptive, that I'm working on right now. And then I'm going to do a couple more self-published books for my coffee crowd, because that support helps me build a woman-owned brand. So it's kind of this beautiful synchronicity. So yeah, thanks.
Good. Wonderful. Good for you. We're all very happy. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Sean, and thanks because
sorry
you
to
bloke
interrupt with
spot
my comings and goings.
Jim.
Hey, at least you're the right
I was
way
just
up.
trying to paste the link so that everyone could hear what you had to say, and I managed to somehow get sucked into a dimension of some kind. Sorry.
You know what? Your comings and goings is what this show is all about. So I am so happy.
I don't want to know anything about Jim Cummings. Sorry. Nothing.
God damn it. High five. We were supposed to not mention that. I'm going to dump you.
Okay,
I got my dump button on.
There's a disclaimer. This is Rad Pod and Chill, not the episodes of Rad Pod where we interview brilliant guests. This is where we chill and crack jokes and break news and have a good time. But even with that very low bar we set, Hi-Fi is still under a gag order. You're not allowed to talk about some things because our beautiful patrons, which we now have 24,
that's right.
We want to be respectful as much as we possibly can.
I did not say anything about genitalia.
You referenced
No,
nothing.
Last episode, he was on a gag order. So what does he do? He still does a freaking hand gesture. No hand gestures. No, no, no.
You
Just
got to
no.
be specific about what I can. Okay, here's the deal. All right, for Rad Pod and Chill, when I'm wearing a hoodie, I'm allowed to be a little naughty.
Oh, the hoodie and the hoodie
Oh,
versus the
When
suit.
I'm wearing the suit for the
Yeah.
episodes,
He's thought about this.
I'll be nice. All right. Is that cool?
Ixnay on the
Okay.
hoodie hay. So no,
Well,
I-
even though we're chill tonight, we are going to do some news, right?
oh yeah,
We are
let's get
getting
into
some
it.
Oh, I got
serious
some
ass
news for y'all.
Got some numbers you want to, and we found out we can share the screen, so he's going to be running his own.
Who's going to be running his own deal while you
Yes.
rad pod and chill while you just stay rad? I
Like-
want to make a
Yeah,
little
I'm just
brief
gonna chill
intro.
while he fucking
Nice.
rides out. Let's go.
Little brief intro from Heidi though. Watching Hi-Fi, who is an incredible, open source investigator, do his thing, is like frickin' watching Fred Astaire dance. I mean, he had me on Zoom showing me his breakdown, and I was like half asleep and half awake, and he just blew my mind. So why don't you blow everyone's mind, Hi-Fi, and show them what you got? Show them what you're made of. While I paint my nails.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow some minds here. All right, hold on. I gotta rearrange some things real fast on my desktop. Everybody's gonna go over there to the side.
Yeah.
You don't have to narrate it.
This is why I want Sean to be engineering. This right
Leave
here.
me alone. Leave me alone. All right, here we go.
Okay. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Where's Jimmy? There he is.
All right.
Jim.
and-
Comings and goings. I told you.
You ready? You tell me when you're ready, and I'll pop it up.
All right, let me see. Hit and play. All right, do it, man. Let's do
Here we
it.
go, guys. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't know if I've made it clear enough, but the reason I started becoming a journalist activist, I wanted the Kyle Rittenhouse fundraiser on Give, Send, Go taken down.
Yes, he did.
They did not take it down.
No, they
So
did.
they got my attention, and they're going to regret it. All right. So I don't know if everyone noticed this in the news, but there have been three, count them, three data leaks from the website Give, Send, Go. One was an S3 storage bucket that contained a bunch of driver's licenses and passports. One was a data leak for the Freedom Convoy 2022 fundraiser for the Canadian truckers. And this third release, which has recently happened, was a full release of the website and a bunch of code. And it was pretty severe as far as data breaches go. However, I did have an independent security researcher provide me with the Freedom Convoy data leak. I also obtained a copy of the data leak that is hosted on Distributed Denial of Secrets, which is a .org that distributes hacked materials to journalists and researchers. I compared the two data sets, and I found some interesting things. So, disclaimer, right? I did do a comparison between the two data sets. The data that existed in both data sets did match, leading me to believe that I did have the correct data set. If the data is legitimate, this is a big story. If the data isn't legitimate, ignore this. I will say this: Give, Send, Go. Yeah, just pretend this didn't happen, right?
Hey,
I will say,
I'm going to stop you. Tell our viewers what Give, Send, Go is, because not everybody knows, and I think that's important.
Give, Send, Go is a free online Christian fundraising site that has been tied to fundraisers for Kyle Rittenhouse, the Proud Boys, January 6th defendants. They raise money for travel to January 6th, all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
All right. So at this time, Give, Send, Go has not confirmed the legitimacy of the breach, nor have they notified their donors of the breach, I believe as they are required to do by law. However, they did make the statement that the individual or individuals behind the breach should be investigated by federal law enforcement. Make of that what you will. All right. First claim they make, Give, Send, Go says their platform takes zero money. As you can see in that big red square, zero. Except going through the data, it looks like Give, Send, Go made over $500,000. And
Wow.
that is a column called 2GSG amount, which I assume is 2 give, send, go. And yeah, you can see the total of that column at the bottom of the screen there. And then there's FinCEN and FinTrack reports. Okay, what is FinCEN? FinCEN is a financial control authority. They're supposed to take care of money laundering in the United States. FinTrack is the money laundering authority in Canada. If a transaction occurs that is over $10,000, a FinCEN SARS or suspicious activity report is supposed to be filed by the organization doing the transaction. In Canada, they're called the suspicious transaction report. And as you can see from our top arrow on the top right there, all these amounts should require a SARS or an STR, except for that top line, which is a $215,000 donation. There is no first name, there is no last name, there is no email, there is no anything. I don't know how you're going to create a report on that. Good luck. All the other ones, as you can see, they go down to 10,000. Oh, one thing I do want to point out here, if you can see the two arrows going sideways, you see those characters that kind of look like an AU. It's like an A and a U with an umlauts or an accent mark. That is generally caused in programming, in computer programming, by translating a character set from like UTF-8 to ASCII or something like that. And this is important. This is important because this has to do with, is this programmatically generated? Why are we getting those errors? And I looked through the rest of the data, and they do actually have the quote, the double apostrophe quotation mark in other comments. So at least some of them were getting through their web interface. If their web interface was the same, is there another input source?
Hey,
that's my question.
The 215,000, is that the one that we saw that was processed but not recorded? Remember when we were looking through the? Okay.
Yeah, that was processed but not recorded.
And
I'm not sure what's going on.
And as you're walking us through this high five, will you keep giving us the high concept takeaway so people don't get lost in the weeds? Because I know this is very important.
Yeah,
high concept takeaway right here.
The 215 was I'm sure pre-wired into the account before it got started. That's how how GoFundMe does this too. Like if you're starting a new account and you have money from somewhere that you want to count towards the goal, they will take a wire. Sorry to interrupt.
Information in their database. But anyway, all right, next one. Here's my next question. Okay, this donation right here, there's a guy named Steven, and we block out the names. We're not trying to dox anybody on the show.
Thank you.
But he made two $5,000 donations, and if you notice in the donation date column there, they're a minute apart. So should that have a SARS or an SRT report as well? The high level takeaway from this slide and the slide before it is give some go, better have some paperwork in. If not, that may be an issue.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so that's the obvious stuff, just looking at the data real fast. Let's talk about the data itself. Now, the reason Radicalized Podcast posted about my article I wrote, it's a very technical article about storage, which most of you probably don't care about. But I wanted to show people that I do have experience utilizing data, translating data, and generating reports. And, Washington Post does the same thing. My first question always when I get new data to look at is the data valid? My first question always.
Whoa.
That was weird.
That was me.
Okay. Washington Post sure thinks so, right? They did this whole analysis. And one of the things I'd like to point out, if you overlap this analysis with the voter data that Paul Manafort gave to the Russians, I bet you're going to see some overlap there. Anyway, here's what I found out is I went and looked at different stuff than zip codes, because zip codes are zip codes, right? But I wanted to look at unique email addresses, zip code combinations, all sorts of different stuff. I'm querying the data to find information, and this is what I found. is that 2,068 email addresses appear twice,
Mhm.
204 are 3,
Mhm.
and you can read the numbers there yourself.
Yeah,
One of them appears 16 times.
that's weird.
That's a lot of, okay, now, it is weird, but I can understand how maybe someone wanted to donate multiple times. Makes sense. So what I wanted to do is go find the records that had those repeating email addresses, right? I just wanted to poke around and see what I found. And I call this a sniff test, right? And here's one of the sniff tests. I found this email address that was in there 4 times. And so I looked at the records, and here are the records I found. 4 different donation names, 4 different first names, 4 last names,
Wow.
4 zip codes, 1 email address, $205 in donations. And as you can see from the zip codes, 1 is Canadian, 3 are US, except when you go to look for that email address online, you find out it's in Japan.
Wow.
And here's this fellow's YouTube. I don't know. Maybe he's just making the okay sign there. I don't know. I'm not really getting into that. But yeah, as you can see, there's the email address, and they are in Japan. So weird.
Yeah, very.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, weird is weird.
Yeah,
you know,
here's the best part though.
thinking.
Ready? Watch this. Those are 4 different donations from 4 different types of cards. One is a Visa debit card, one is a MasterCard credit, one is a Visa credit, and one is a MasterCard debit.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
even if it was the same person making up names but using their same email or whatever, you would
Yeah.
think they'd use the same card at least twice. I don't know.
Snow washing.
Yeah. So
Wow.
let's talk about doing a little bit more sniff tests, right?
Marty, Shield called
Shield.
it, sorry, not
Structuring.
Yeah.
Structuring.
Structuring, yeah.
Yeah.
Structure. Maybe. I'm not making any accusations yet, but I am saying things look fucking weird.
Sorry, but
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I don't know for sure. And one of the things I did not have in my data set, and I just want to make this clear, I did not have any credit card information.
Yeah.
And also, I would not even have the ability. I mean, I have heard rumors on hacker forums and in hacker discords and places that some of the credit cards that were utilized that are in the data set actually look like credit card numbers that have been found previously on hacked credit card forums for sale, right? That is a thing that exists.
Wow.
And they're saying, oh yeah, we've seen these before.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's George. We have 1 name. We only 1 email address. 2 zip codes, though. 1 in Arizona, 1 in California. And $100 in donations. George was nice enough to leave us the Save Our Children QAnon slogan in the comments. Yeah. The reason this is interesting, if one zip code is Arizona and the others are California, why is his domain for his email and the DNS and the email server itself located in Norway?
Yeah.
That's not weird. And we were looking for a domain name report where you can actually look at the history of the domain name. There's so many changes that I kind of doubt George owns that domain anymore. Yeah. All right.
All right.
So sniff, sniff, sniff. Here's another one I picked out. 7 donations, 7 names, 1 email address, 7 zip codes, 5 from Canada, 2 from the US, 1 from Australia. Boy, I sure hope Washington Post plotted that one. And $667 in donations on 2 different types of credit cards.
Why wouldn't they plot it? You want to explain that?
Well, they were looking at the zip codes, and obviously the zip codes are real. They're not fake, right?
No.
Anyway, moving on. Here's one with 8 donations, 8 names, 8 zip codes, 1 email address, $750 in donations. Again, on 2 types of cards. And you notice there over on the right, red circle, we have more of those strange character translation errors. I'm really starting to get the sense here that maybe there were different files with different information, and they just kind of programmatically, here's a name, here's a credit card number, here's a statement, here's a zip code, drop it, right? Maybe.
So I'm going to stop you for a second. And okay, obviously you're just bringing us the data, but from your
This is just the data.
From your experience, and not saying this conclusively at all, what does this look like? Just zooming out, what does this data look like? Not conclusive, just,
what does it mean?
If we were sitting around the water cooler, what does it look like?
Well, if we were in a casual, relaxed situation and we were compatriots from a long time ago, I say, man, this shit is fucked up.
What? Why?
Can you be more specific?
Can I be more specific? Sure. I don't think all these duplicates are real. I think there are fakes in here.
Okay.
I think there are fake donations.
They have to be either the data is completely fucked up, right? Or
possible,
or this is some kind of fraud. It's either error or fraud.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty much your choices.
Because you can't have a fucking email address with 8 different, completely different identities and 8 different kinds of cards.
8, dude. Okay, here's the final sniff test I did. This one has 16.
Yeah.
16 different names. I'm sorry, 15 names on this one. 15. Okay. There was one name that repeated.
Like I said, so there's 2 choices. Either they're some got real screwed up in the data.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it, or we've got a bunch of money laundering going through structured payments.
Well, so here's the thing I want to point out with this one. You see that little red box in the middle of the data?
Remember when we were live on air and the thing was going up like $3,000 a minute?
Yeah,
it was.
That was weird. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stick with weird.
All the patriots out there. I'm
Actually,
sure.
a time progression of the dollar amount, whilst also showing the dispersion of the donations by dollar amount, would give you a pretty idea where the jumps are and where the fakes are.
Does it have timestamps?
It does have timestamps, and that's what I want to point out on this slide right here. 16 donations, all with the same email address, 15 names, 16 different zip codes, 8 Canadian, 8 US, $1,049 in donations. And the donation credit card types: 2 American Express, 6 Visa credit, 3 Visa debit, and 4 MasterCard credit. And again, we have our random character translation error.
I mean, who has a MasterCard anymore? Like, come on.
I know. I mean, MasterCard does bank cards. I've seen MasterCards. I don't really see MasterCard credit cards.
I'm just saying, like there's a lot. It seems very intentionally, randomly dispersed between.
It's very random. Yeah.
Cards.
Before you go any further, I just want to point out that Hi-Fi said whilst and dispersion in the same sentence. And
I heard the whilst.
I salute you, man.
Vocabulary is important. All right. So obviously we've got some goofy shit going on here.
Goofy. Right? Goofy. I'm gonna go with goofy.
Goofy.
Mm-hmm.
This is some goofy shit.
Yes.
Right. And
what was it, about $16 million worth of goofy? Was that what it was?
Yeah, something like that. I think it's about 9 or 10 now. But anyway, okay. So we've shown that there is some wonky data. Let's see if there's real data that we can connect to real people. Do legitimate donations exist? Yes, they do. Utilizing first name, last name, zip code data, we were able. I mean, some people use their business email address, right? Okay, bud. I guess.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So remember this donation from the beginning? This 2 $5,000 donations within 1 minute of each other, right? I found the guy. He is the president of a company that provides gun sights to the Marine Corps and the U.S. Strategic Operations Command.
America.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Great. Moving on.
That's really that's heartwarming.
Isn't it though?
We got a couple minutes left, Hi-Fi.
All right. Another individual located. This one was a tarot reader from Seattle, Washington. 4 donations of $5 each. LinkedIn and Twitter accounts were located. Previously, she had a podcast, which I listened to a couple, and there's a lot of I am cult, ascended theosophy, spiritual woo-woo, whatever. I mean, to each their own. But
let me pause for a minute. I am theosophy is the same root of the cult that Mike Flynn did the prayer about at the Christian church. So Mike Flynn's been through Q and through a bunch of other ways, been spreading I am theosophy bullshit for a long time, and it's spread throughout the whole kind of leftist Pastellanon part of Q.
Well, so the root of theosophy is Madame Blavatsky, and it was argued, is Madame Blavatsky a Russian spy? I have kind of the same kind of question, but in this point, it's a different country. Because our donator here had a Romanian tarot card reader, and that name just really stuck out to me.
Shit.
So I looked him up, and he's on YouTube. He's a tarot reader, but you can also find him on LinkedIn as a community manager and with a background in editing video, I assume, data analytics, and operations. All right, man.
Astrologer,
whatever.
Data analyst.
Yes, seems like a perfectly natural combination. Moving on. We located a third individual based off of name, zip code. It turns out this fellow donated $400 for $100. And now we have reached out to all of these people, and we have not heard back from any of them.
Aww.
I don't know why they don't want to call me, but anyway.
Damn it.
I know, right? This individual is an information architect for the Canadian Border Services Agency.
Oh.
Ambassador Bridge. What? Anyway, moving on.
Lost Jim again.
I really do wish that they, like the Romanian tarot card reader, would come on the show, because that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. All right. So, Jim's not here. Jim's going to love this one. So we found a fourth individual. We contacted him. No response. This person gave 4 donations, two $50, $20, and a $10 for a total of $130 on their American Express. I don't run into a lot of American Express. Generally, it's platinum or corporate cards. I wonder if it's his corporate card, because the individual we found appears in government records in 2019 and 2020, working for Wilbur Ross at the Census Bureau. However, we also found another individual with that same name and the same zip code who we contacted, did not hear back from, who worked for Palantir, a company called Convoy. Supposedly at the same time he was working for the government, so I'm not sure how that works. Yeah, and now currently he's working at Peter Thiel funded Anduril.
Palmer Lucky's military.
Yeah. Don't forget General Tata, Mike Flynn's friend, General Tata. Don't forget. Yeah.
Oh, is Tata in that?
Yeah, Tata's at Anduril now.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Anthony, you guys, if you want to just see the craziest book blurb in your entire life, go look up Anthony Tata's fiction. Dude, he talked about like an insurrection at the Capitol after an attempted coup in 2019 in the book.
That's not.
And
doesn't sound
he was
familiar.
number 4 at the Pentagon on one.
And he's number 4.
So I want to ask you.
That sounds great.
I know you reached out to these folks, Hi-Fi, but what he did is not illegal, right?
No, it's not illegal.
It's just goofy.
It's just very
okay. Yeah, goofy.
Yeah, let's go with goofy.
But bunch of
but my question here,
billionaires like dumping money into anti-democratic chaos operations.
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
Yeah, no
one
big
thing
deal.
we do know.
Yeah,
is,
it's not illegal. It should be.
It should be illegal. One thing we do know is Peter Thiel gets a lot of government money.
Yeah.
And I kind of have a question about this guy, because this guy, if I'm not sure if his LinkedIn is right or if the government data is right. It sure seems like this is the same person. They live in the same area. They do kind of the same stuff.
What concerns me is we're talking about the convoy, correct? And what we learned from our Canadian guest, Brad Galloway, was that it had nothing to do really with anti-vax or freedoms.
Anti-mandate is what it is for 10% of the people who want to throw a tantrum.
It appeared, according to him, to be a white supremacy matter. And why that matters is we keep on finding that theme over and over and over again with the tentacles of people related to this PayPal mafia. And I find it to be very disturbing that there's high-level folks involved with that are also high-level involved with government operations and data. I think that's very disturbing.
I mean, if somebody wants to see some racist shit, go look at the complaint against Tesla.
Yeah.
You want to see some? You want to see some racist?
Did you read
shit?
that?
Some
Did you read that?
Racism. Look at
Did
that.
you read it?
Well,
Holy hell! If you read that,
Yeah, I don't want to. All right,
it's horrifying.
Hold on, I got a couple more.
Let that go on in his company and has a
Horrifying,
$250 billion at the same
while
time.
we're on the subject, Elon Musk tweeted out an image of Hitler today, and he's, if you recall,
the second time.
Times Troll of the Year, and they haven't rescinded making him Troll of the Year. I know that Trump kept lowering the bar for what was tolerable, but I do think that is just we shouldn't tolerate that.
Heidi, I said it last episode, and I over the episode before. Elon Musk is a fucking problem.
Yeah, well,
he is a serious problem, and I
Definitely.
think he was appropriate. Hitler was man of the year, Stalin was man of the year, fucking Putin was man of the year, Trump was man of the year. I think Musk is right on time, honestly.
All right.
Well, now he's out there killing monkeys by putting chips in their brains. So anyway, all right,
I'm
last couple slides, I promise.
The whistleblower she's done a white paper on it. It's pretty remarkable.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
I think we have gone too low, and we tolerate too much, and people should not be rewarded for behaving so ugly.
Yeah.
Wrap it up here
last couple
for us.
slides,
That's what we got.
All right. One of the things I want to point out here is the distribution of donations. Normally, you'd expect to see a lot of smaller donations and the number kind of curved down to the right. This does absolutely not do that, and you see spikes at certain points. Now, I believe Gibson Go currently is an empty field that you can type whatever in. But prior to that, I believe they had buttons. I'm not sure. And I thought this was kind of a weird pattern, so I wanted to see what would happen. Geographically, Jane, that doesn't matter because I don't think all of the zip codes are correct.
Okay.
And the VPNs can guide it through different places.
Right?
You can do VPNs. You can make shit up all over. Geography over the internet. Geography is a myth. Anyway.
So that means all those German mass reportings on me weren't necessarily really from Germany.
They could be. They like to do that. The organized trolls that I've pissed off at least. But I did end up in chat rooms full of Germans as well, which was really weird because I don't speak German.
Achtung, baby.
Achtung, baby. All right. So I broke that weird pattern out by card, thinking, okay, maybe one card had a spike and the others didn't. And actually, no, what you see here is you see the same pattern repeats across all of the cards. There's that big spike at 100 on every single card. And then there's a spike at 50. And then there's a spike at around 150. And then you see a spike at 200, 300, and on down the line. The thing I also want to point out, if you look on the far right there, there's a bunch of donations where it's blank. I don't know how you can have online donations with a blank card. Does a credit card have to be linked to a zip? It's possible, depending on who's doing the payment processing. And here's the thing: if your website is accepting credit cards and zip codes, and that's what goes into your database, but then you can alter that coming out of your database into the payment processor, or the payment processor can alter that data. you can make it look like it's legit. Digital manipulation of this stuff is very simple. It's a few lines of code.
What did Marty say about prepaid credit cards? That is often used in these structuring money laundering schemes, right? So
yeah, prepaid.
Okay.
Well, I looked at that, and yeah,
All right.
There were when I broke it out by prepaid and blank, it was over $100,000 in prepaid cards.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good work, my friend.
This one is really kind of freaks me out. It's the weirdest little detail. JCB is a Japanese bank, and I only know that because I have family in Japan. And there were only 4 donations done in very specific amounts. And I wonder if that isn't a test run to see if they could get money through JCB. All right. And here's my conclusion. Basically, we're looking at a highly advanced mix of both possibly scripted and fake and also legitimate donation behaviors. This is a cursory investigation. It requires a more in-depth and exhaustive investigation by financial authorities. And due to the fact it's multinational, the Department of Justice, FinCEN, and FinTrack would all have to be involved. And they should examine this fundraiser very, very specifically. And I think they should examine Give, Send, Go and Stripe and how they interact in general.
Yeah. And I mean, just the fact that it was used for Kyle Rittenhouse's fundraiser to raise money off of his murders. And then you had, the Proud Boys, white supremacy groups. And I'm not sure what's so Christian about that, in my humble opinion. But also, will you tell our friends what Martin Shields said? Because bottom line is that we also reached out to our friend of RadPod, former IRS investigator, criminal supervisor who spent decades working with, investigating the transnational mob and money laundering. And he had a couple interesting notes to this story as well, correct?
Well, he did say that the licensing looked really, really wonky, considering they run a money service business in Delaware, and all of their infrastructure is in Ohio. So do they need to be licensed in Ohio as well? And then their payment processor, Stripe, is licensed, but it's bizarre.
Okay, all right.
He said it was funky, and I asked him about the FinCEN and FinTrack reports. He did say, well, yeah, they should, but I can't tell you if they do or not.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm 100% sure this isn't test data.
Right?
Yes, Sharon, this was given to us by security researchers who extracted it directly from Give, Send, Go.
And Give, Send, Go, as far as you know, has not made a statement and has not released the information to
they haven't said
donors.
if it's legit. Yeah, they haven't said it's legitimate or not. They haven't notified their donors, but they have called for an investigation of the people behind it.
Okay.
And then, actually, one of the ways you could really test is on that third leak that was literally every part of Give, Send, Go you could think of. Kind of reminded me of the Epic hack, to be honest. You could actually take the Give, Send, Go data, match it up against the data that's in the third hack, and make sure that it is legitimate data.
Okay. Wow. Well, that was incredibly informative. And I do hope that investigators do a thorough job of looking into this, because these are the things that we've seen over and over again that are sort of the prelude to the authoritarian, takeovers. And so this needs to be taken very, very seriously. Jim, what say you?
Just that listen, the fact Hi-Fi is a genius, but the fact that Hi-Fi,
I just know data, dude.
Just look at this shit and go like, here's a PowerPoint presentation 48 hours later of the sketchiest shit you have ever seen in your entire life. And our government is doing nothing about any of it. Yeah. They're just
hey, Merrick Garland.
Hold on.
Yo.
flowing through America's frontline doctors.
Oh my God.
All through all
Oh
of
my God.
Flynn's fucking organizations. There's like millions and millions of dollars flowing through these organizations that all of
He's
us
coming to Ohio.
have been screaming about for fucking years now. And you know, we have to rely on like
High five.
the gray hat, you know, hacker folks out there to you know, root through the fucking trash of these people in order to show very clearly that this fuckery is going on. Why does it take us? Why?
Hey, high five. Can you crop it out?
We'll do that, Baudry. As a matter of fact, you know what? I think for our Patreons, we should put that PowerPoint presentation up on our Patreon site.
So we'll get that probably tomorrow. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then let's crop this part out so they can look at it more.
And is there anything else you want to say, or can I talk about some stoner memories from that were triggered by the Super Bowl halftime show?
It's a good transition.
I figured as much.
Y'all know me.
Yes, please stop. Please.
Well, first of all, high five. Fucking, you are so metal. You are so metal.
We need a golf clap.
When you grow up like I did, you learn to look for shady shit. Sorry, it's a defensive mechanism, you know.
Yeah, that's right. All I know is that I was in awe watching it in real time, and you know, I just think it's an incredible skill set, and I hope that we are not let down again. Once again, our freedoms are continually used to attack our democracy, and our justice system, which I believe in, is just grinding too slowly. And so we are just, you know, we see these moves. You know, I'm in a weekly fascism course every Friday with Ruth Ben-Ghiat. Okay, she's like teacher. I'm one of like 200 students, and so everything I've learned in the last few months is that we have seen all this shit before. It leads nowhere good. When Malcolm X said, I said it again, Malcolm X. I love Malcolm X. Reading his autobiography changed my life. When Malcolm Nance said we're in the last inning of democracy, we need to take it fucking seriously. And, you know, Jim was knocked off Twitter because he knows how seriously we need to take it. So an entire operation was assigned against him. Thank you. Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a little palate cleanser, some stoner memories.
Yes.
Because
of the stoner times.
Well, it's truthfully, actually, I've got 3 good stoner memories, but truthfully, you know,
only 3?
I don't watch. Well, no, I mean, come on, 3 that came to mind. I don't watch television, as you know, but I thought it was important to see the Super Bowl halftime show, and I was a rap and R&B writer for a really long time, which is funny. But the memories that came back, and first of all, Dre looked so handsome. Oh my God.
Yeah, he looked great.
So handsome. And Snoop, of course, is so beautiful. But I was at, and I'm sober from weed 4 years. I just celebrated my 4th anniversary a week ago, and I'm sober from alcohol 19 years. So
amazing.
These are memories, though. So I was at the Viper Room one night, and I had a hit off of Snoop Dogg's weed. He had shot a music video earlier that day, and it was like,
very strong, yeah.
And I knew to take just a tiny little hit. Right? I am still high.
Yeah, everybody I've heard that's been around Snoop and is taken
later.
from his joint is like, this is not. This is, you can't even buy this in stores. This is the craziest weed.
I believe the phrase is that real sticky icky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I know something along those lines. You know,
I'm an Eminem guy. I have to, you know, white guy, I guess. But I love Eminem, man.
Powerful.
That dude, that guy is fucking amazing.
Hilarious.
Like,
yeah.
the
Speaking of
chops on
sober
that guy
people.
are
Speaking of sober,
ridiculous.
yeah,
exactly.
And like, good on both him and Dre, man, for connecting so early and being such an amazing
Kendrick
team.
Lamar. Kendrick opened it up too.
Fuck yeah.
Kendrick Amaze.
Who's the next the torchbearer for that group? Yeah.
And I just, being a West Coast girl, it was just really beautiful to see it, and especially with Mary, J. Blige representing,
So what do you count?
it
What
was
do you count for all
beautiful.
what about all the backlash? Just boomer not liking hip hop,
I ignore
anger, and
all of that. That's one of the beautiful things about not having a television and not caring about haters. Like, I don't care. I will only tell you that to me, it was just a celebration of a time and place, and I'm glad I was there.
no.
So this is
Well,
my death row weed story. Let me tell you
okay,
this one.
I
This
think
is an
a lot of
important one.
people. I think a lot of people hate hip hop because they don't understand the cultural history of hip hop. Like, hip hop comes from spoken word, which comes from a game called the Dozens, that was prevalent in the black community back in the day, and that actually comes from an African game.
Yeah.
I'm from DC and Baltimore, man.
Yeah, you're
Dozens
from
were
Maryland.
Yeah, you
everything.
get it.
That's
Yeah.
all we did was cut on each other all day
Yeah.
long.
That's
Yeah.
why you guys are so good at it today. Oh, before I tell my Death Row Records stoner story, I do want to say something that I don't think our friends have ever really fully understood. When Hi-Fi was saying some fucking egregious things, when he was trolling hard some of the evil people that are trying to hurt our world, he was trying to make himself a bigger target to take some of the heat off Jim, while also smoking out who the ops were. Well, fucking done, Hi-Fi. I just wanted to make sure people understood
That was the whole game. I mean, yes. Did I want
Yes.
to cause them pause in what they were doing and what I knew they were doing? Absolutely. And
Yeah,
some
and
of the
you
things
did.
I did
Look,
were rude.
the level of projection that goes on with these fucking people
Yeah.
who
Gnarly.
spend 16 hours a day just
Yeah.
fucking inventing ways to fucking harass their targets.
Yeah.
Like comes up with one DM from fucking 18 months ago designed to tweak somebody. It's fucking
Pay by the
nuts.
tweet,
It's so
yo.
stupid. Go away. We
That's not their
found you.
job. That's
I
not their
mean,
job.
I did what I accomplished, which was to disrupt their fucking operation and be a chaos agent.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was doing, which is exactly what they're doing to American society. I view it as
Right.
fucking payback, bitch.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway,
right. So,
sorry.
yeah, so I just wanted to explain that because some people still don't understand. So now I'm going to tell you my death row story. So back in the day, I was at Ice-T's house, and it was the day that Tyson and Holyfield were fighting, and it was the fight where Tyson bit Holyfield's ear. And there were some guys from Death Row Records there. There's a bunch of people were there. Pimpin' Rex was there. It was a really fun. Too Short was there. But I smoked some Death Row Records weed, and all I remember was looking at my feet and realizing that my shoes were on the wrong feet. And that is my memory. That is my memory. I don't know. I must have put my shoes on when I was getting ready to leave, and I was like, "Oh shit!
Look,
they're on the wrong
Heidi,
feet."
I'm sorry, but that's a terrible Death Row Records story. Like, if you're gonna tell a Death Row Records story, there needs to be Suge and there needs to be fucking guns and shit. Like,
no, Suge actually
Suge
was a gentleman. It's weird because the people who would have interaction with him, like one of the great lessons from Suge, actually, like a lot of gangsters are gentlemen, right? My best
people
friend.
out windows.
I understand that. I understand that. I wrote a book with Tupac's bodyguard. I know about that. My best friend is Ice-T's first wife, Darlene Ortiz, and she's an amazing woman. And my favorite Suge story is her story, which is she was at the Roxbury one night and she's dancing, and I think she danced with Suge at one point, and it was lovely. And then she's in line getting her, oh God, it was she was in the valet line. And I just remember him telling her where to stand and where not to stand in the valet line. And like a week later, somebody was like, gunned down. And it was like basically him looking after her, like, this is not where you want to stand, because it was the era of the drive-by. And sure enough, a week later, someone got their thumb shot off in the valet line at the Roxbury. So I'm just saying, a lot of stories.
I mean, I guess that's chivalry.
It is in a way.
Well,
I will
Real
tell you
gangsters, no women, no kids.
I will tell you my best weed story, and I hope that my friend Mike Judge doesn't get pissed, but I don't think he will because he's a sweetheart. So I was hanging out with Mike Judge one night, and I didn't drink, and he didn't smoke weed, and so he found some weed for me, but neither of us knew how to roll a joint. So we watched a YouTube tutorial and learned and that's probably the nerdiest thing that you could do.
Yes,
but
yes,
because
it is.
at the time, come on, like smoking joints, that's like above my kin. I was a bong girl. So anyway,
Hey.
those are all the beautiful memories that flooded back when I was watching the incredible halftime show. And man, Dre, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it because you look good, man.
We only got like 10 minutes left, and I just realized something.
Yep.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the show like at all.
I know. You did. You just realized you went for 30 minutes?
Well,
did you really?
You did a very
oh,
important.
Shit, sorry.
No,
That's all right. It was good. It was great.
It's brilliant. I would like to show that clip from Monique because a lot of people don't have time to watch a 2-hour plus episode, but they can take the time to watch a 2-minute episode. This is Monique Kamara from calling us all the, showing up on the show all the way from Italy. She is also a co-host of Kremlin File, and like my girl crush is like totally Leslie Jones, but my other girl crush is Monique. She's fucking amazing. She's a genius.
Like watch this and then watch the whole damn thing if you haven't already. She's
right on.
Incredible.
This is not something happening in a faraway land that will not have any impact on Europe or the United States. Can you please tell them why they need to care?
Because we have lived from the Second World War up until today with a rules-based international order that was based on the respect for the integrity of nations across the world. We have lived with, let's say, trying to come to a consensus, not use war or the threat of war to get what you want. Okay. They're a democracy. If Ukraine falls, because it is a democracy, let's remember that, then we have not protected it enough, and we're not protecting any other country. Let's remember that Russia is on the border with Ukraine, but also the Baltic states, right? Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, all right? Poland is there, okay? These are areas that could be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And if that falls, we are giving the signal to every single fucking authoritarian across the world, you can do whatever you want. We are not going to protect anyone. That's the thing. And you know what? It's not just kinetic warfare, non-kinetic warfare. If let's say there's a cyber attack, okay?
Yeah.
How are you going to prove that it's the Russians that did it? How are you know how long that takes to prove? I'm sure that you talked to Tomas about this with the cyber attack in 2007.
Yeah.
And he knew, and it took 3 weeks to figure it out. And everybody's like, well, how do you know it's them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a decade for a report to come out. Exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this is what we're talking about. And if people think that he's going to stop at Ukraine, then I got some land for you in Florida if you want to buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now Putin owns most of Florida.
That was good.
So
Wow.
I have something to say. One thing that has been very impressive this week that I tweeted whatever the fuck substacking is about it, which is that we actually appeared to be fighting an information war for the first time,
Right.
which is good, which is really good. Like we're front running this motherfucker, man. We're like,
Well,
nope. Wait, hold on. What you're going to do is you're going to do a report to the UN about this shit. And that's going to be a false flag so that you can, and then he does it. And that is why things have slowed down. That's why there's, even a glimmer. I mean, he's going in one way or the other, but I think the fact that our government is actually telling us what they know is a good thing. And it's the first time in a bit that I can ever remember that happening, where they get intelligence and they're like, here you go, everybody, this is what he's going to do. And I have to say that's that is a bit of great news as far as I'm concerned.
Would you like to hear my theory about that, how that's happening?
Only if it's uplifting.
It is uplifting. I think the government finally got its head out of its ass and realized we need to start hacking the shit out of Russia back to get intel on them, because that's what they're fucking doing to us.
Well, the criticism I have is that they're doing a great job in Ukraine, but what about here? Why are
they're doing a shit job here.
They calling out all the fucking Russian ops that are obviously happening in the United States?
Right.
It's just that they're happening through domestic actors, so that we have, you know, these fucking rules about, like, you know, which is good. We can't, like,
I mean,
just go around
the CIA, NSA
people.
spying on
when
Americans.
You have fucking spies all over the place, and obviously doing it for an asset.
Yeah,
they need to do more network analysis.
So I mean, you guys are the three smartest guys I know, truthfully, when it comes to this stuff. And how big do you think the underground economy of paying people to libel and slander and trash people's reputations, particularly the people who are pro-democracy truth activists, how big do you think that is? How many people throughout the world, if you were to estimate?
No way.
I don't know. I have
here's what I'll tell you
of them right now.
Yeah, we know 50. No, you'll find the answer in cybersecurity and private intelligence companies around. And private military.
It's about 1 million people, right? Like I've read estimates where it's about 1 million.
Okay, so that estimate of about 1 million is organized crime stuff.
This is all organized
some of that's
crime
money.
related.
Well, yes. But not every organized crime individual is a troll or a whatever.
Yeah, but
there are money launderers, there are scammers, grifters, con men, con women. I mean, it's a whole huge
people who
thing.
are willing to take advantage of the system at other people's expense for money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's expensive out there, right? So,
but here's the thing: it's not, though, right? Like, paying these idiots to tweet all day long is cheap as shit. Right?
No, I know that. What I'm saying,
a lot of them are broke.
Is all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, some people have expensive lifestyles, and if you look at the Russian spy who was just indicted or just convicted in Mexico, you look at the money he was taking. 7,500 here, 5,000 here, 100,000 in the bank, so whatever lifestyle he's leading, that was, but I do want to say one thing, guys, before we leave. I do know of a situation where somebody who was a local blogger in his community was offered a fuck ton of money to trash a very important person in that community. And instead of taking it, he told the person, hey, I was just offered a fuck ton of money to trash you. I think you're amazing. I'm not going to take it, but somebody else will. Somebody else will take that money. The reason I'm telling that story is because I know we're watched by media. I know that we're watched by, some friends that I have in government. We need to do something about this economy that is destroying people's lives. I mean, if you go and look at Carol Cadwalader and what she went through in the UK, this is not just a domestic problem, but it's
this is a global thing.
This is a huge domestic problem because our laws, just like Jim always says, if you're in a 7-Eleven and 50 people, threaten you, you can call the cops and something can be done. Online, these reputation smears and all this bullshittery that occurs behind anonymous accounts, or even worse, behind fake blue checks. This economy needs to be faced with criminal charges, and we need to catch up with it, just as if it were real world. And so that is my plea to Ronald Klain, who sometimes retweets me. Chief of staff.
I mean, look, if I just went up to somebody, in the parking lot and said, "Here's a $500 gift card. What I want you to do is go follow that motherfucker around all day long.
Yeah, totally.
And embarrass him. Say whatever the hell
Talk shit
you
about
can think
him.
of.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
talk to anybody they know. Like, just go fuck with them as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
imagine if somebody did that shit and a human being did that and just stalked you around all day long. You would
Yeah.
call the fucking cops immediately.
Yeah, it'd be over
What do
so
you do
quickly.
on Twitter?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, there are things you could do, but they take longer than I hope. But you know,
Well, we're working on
We'll
it.
get
Hey,
there.
we're trying to work on making the Twitter space and everywhere else safer for people by taking action. And Sean, I know you got to go,
Gotta
but
get
I
out,
do
guys.
want to say that digital descent you did of me celebrating Mary Trump's fist bump resulted in Mary Trump today giving us a smiley laughing face because
well,
she
do
thought it
another
was
one.
hilarious. So we love you, Mary Trump. Thank you for
Thank you, guys.
supporting
Yeah.
Rad Pod. Thank you
Thank
to
you
our
so much.
patrons, all our good friends.
We'll see you guys soon.
My dear friend Sharon for sending me this mug.
Thanks, Sharon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Later.
Thanks,
So
guys.
groovy.
Was
See you
it
guys.
the book? Hi-Fi, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you do
What?
that? The book.